Libra, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries. In these weekly videos, I review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they interact with your natal sun and what that means for your bottom line and how that's going to impact you day to day. I'm going to start out really broad with the big stuff, the general things that is basically global or national or just meta consciousness. And then I'm going to focus down into Libra specific information, and then we'll break things down into the 3 decans of Libra. And a decan is a group of 10 degrees. There are 3 decans in every zodiac sign because every zodiac sign has a total of 30 degrees. And by breaking things down into these increments of 10, it helps astrologers see which aspect is forming and which aspect isn't, because all your natal suns are not going to be impacted in the same way because they're forming different angles to the same planet. So all you need to enjoy this video is to know your birth date. That's it, just your birth date. I will be translating the correlating decans into their relative birthday span, so you'll know who I'm talking about, no problems. Let's start out with the big stuff, shall we, Libra? So this is for July 18th to the 24th. That's in the thumbnail. It's also down below in the title, but just to review that, this is from the 18th to the 24th. We just came out of a huge new moon that I think the impact is really, it's just gonna start rippling now. This isn't just it wasn't just a huge new moon. It was a reset in consciousness as to who people are, what maybe even all of humanity is, sort of the rebirth of humanity. So this is a pretty huge, that was a pretty huge new moon that will impact everybody for quite some time. So what's going on now? This week we have a major transit. Leo season begins, which means the sun transits from Cancer into Leo, and that happens between the 22nd and 23rd of this month, of this week. So by the end of the week, we'll be in Leo season. Also, around the 23rd, Venus goes into, no, hold on a second, I want to get this right. Venus goes into retrograde, yes, on the 23rd. That's pretty big because Venus will stay in retrograde for quite some time, and this is Venus in Leo. So Venus in Leo is very connected to its heart space and very kind of dramatic and big, and you can't hide anything. So this is almost like reviewing our value systems, reviewing what's really important to us, and things are slowing down, so we have more time. We're being asked to take more time to say what is really your heart saying in terms of value, because there's some authenticity that we have to get back to and reconnect with. Mercury also conjuncts Venus around the 23rd, 24th of this week, and that means that it's very talkative and it's expressive. That's the best way for it. The best adjective is expression, personal expression, creative expression, being able to express what is in your heart. So this could be, especially because Venus is retrograding, information that we really needed to express or share, information that should have been shared that could really affect value systems in general, what we value, who we value, or who we know we're valued by. We also have Jupiter, Mars trine to Jupiter that starts on the 22nd of this week. This is success in action. So taking action, whatever you take action on now will lead to success, because it's in the pushing of the energy that you enable the success to happen. So this is actually quite a blessed week, but from a different perspective and with a new understanding of what's valuable to us. And because it's in Leo, I think, like I said, it's more authentic, getting closer to our more authentic understanding of what is valuable and what is not. On the 22nd, something interesting happens, and that is a trine. So there's a grand square between Pluto, the nodes, and the sun all week long, which means our egos are transforming. This is very transmutation kind of energy. Something is molding us into something different. But On the 22nd, there is a grand trine that forms between the moon, which is opposite Neptune. It's the moon in Virgo opposite Neptune, so it's at the end of Virgo. It's in the third decan of Virgo. And then it's trine to Uranus, and it's trine, so it's Uranus in Taurus and trine to Pluto in Capricorn. So we have a grand Earth trine. So there's something that's practical and practically harmonizing that has to do with the confrontation of distraction or what we don't really want. I wrote this down. Our reality isn't fulfilling us anymore. So there's this sense of why are we always escaping, but there's this illumination of why we've been behaving the way that we've been behaving. And once we practically, tangibly recognize that, we can do something about it. On this day in particular, it could be easy to sell people bullshit because of their desperation to change. But at the same time, maybe that's where we need to get to just be able to take the step forward that we need to take. We need to be lured in a way. I don't think it will last long, but it could be what we need to actually incite us into action. We have Venus that's trine to the North Node and sextile to the South Node, which is now in Libra, her one of her domiciles. What does that mean? That this Libra retrograde is way more important, and it's got way more to do with the meta consciousness and the way we're traveling on Earth and as a people in humanity, and recalibration of our value systems and what is authentically valuable and not. Yeah, let's just get into it. Let's get into Libra specific information. So what do I do to decide that? I look at what's going on in Libra. I got my notes. I always write, dude, I can't do this without notes. I just can't. So we look at what's going on inside of Libra, the zodiac sign. And then we also look at what's going on with Venus, your ruling dignitary. And we see what's interacting and how that could really play on everything else that's going on around it. So in Libra, we now have the North Node. It is at 29 degrees. Libra just entered from Scorpio on the 17th. This means that the South Node, it's the South Node that is in Libra now. What about South Node is what we're comfortable with, what we've gotten good at. And so it's easily approachable. And Libra is the house of partnership. What is easily approachable about partnership, or how have we grown too complacent in partnership that we have made a challenge or a struggle when it comes to singularity? Or how has partnership not been being supported by singularity and independence? This is a question that we're asking with the changing of the nodes now. What is Venus doing? So Venus is moving, not at all. Venus is basically stationary this week because it goes into retrograde on the 23rd. It doesn't move. It's 28 degrees Leo all week long, goes into retrograde on the 23rd. It conjuncts Mercury on the 23rd. Loose conjunction, tight conjunction will really happen the 24th or 25th, which is after this week ends. Venus is sextile to the North Node and trine to sextile to the South Node and trine to the North Node. North Node is in Aries. That is our discomfort zone, but it's sort of like our beacon in the storm where we have to get to in order to kind of pull us in a direction that will challenge us. And there could also be misdirections in there as well. So it's really trying to understand this balance between our value systems when it comes to partnership versus singularity, singularness, individuality. How have we maybe sacrificed one for the sake of the other, and realize that when you sacrifice one, you sacrifice them both, because they're not separate. They're actually very much the same. They're just two different sides of the same path. How do we recalibrate that? And the fact that Venus is so heavily involved, it's talking about value systems. Where do we place our money? Where do we place our attention? Where do we place our focus? Why is it not balanced anymore? And And then we have Venus also trying to Chiron, which means she's in this, she is central to healing those past wounds and recalibrating so that we're not sick anymore. And then we have Pluto, quincunx to Pluto. So this is excitable energy, formidable energy, and it's not going away. It's adding to the power of transformation. So how will this impact you? Your value systems are changing. And it could be, you could be confronted in some ways by the shift in value systems. So it could be something that actually hinders you or makes things challenging intentionally so that you change what or who you've been valuing. Let's get into the decans. So Libra, if your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Libra, you are a Libra 1 because your natal sun is in the first decan of Libra. This correlates to Libras born in September, essentially, September 22nd through the 31st. That's pretty much Libra, September Libras. Definitely Virgo cuspers. Absolutely. So that's, the cusp is the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. So it's those of you that fall in Libra. Your natal suns this week are in a semi-square to Mercury. So communications is going to be frustrating for you, finding the right words and getting the information that you need. It's just frustrating. You could definitely work your way through it. It's not as restrictive or challenging as a Mercury square, but give yourself a little bit more time when it comes to anything that takes exceptional communication and thought. Give yourself a little more time because that'll be a little bit more fuzzy. There's also Mercury now, Libra. So there is also then Libra 1, a sextile to the sun, which is really illuminating, opens up a sense of opportunity for the self to be seen, to have courage, to move forward based on your heart. So it could also be very romantic energy as the sun enters Leo. A semi-square between Mercury and your natal suns also means there's a semi-square between Venus and your natal suns, because Mercury will be conjunct Venus. So ultimately, what does that mean? This retrograde, when it starts retrograding, is going to be very frustrating. There could be very frustrating conversations or information that comes up that challenges you immediately when it comes to where you've placed your value, right? Or what you think is beautiful or what you're attracted to. A challenge there, maybe because you want to change or you want something different, because your natal suns are in a long-term trine to Pluto, which means you are evolving and you're supposed to not be attracted to what you were attracted to. You know, a butterfly would never be attracted to a caterpillar, even though it once was. It can't go back. It can't be attracted to what it once used to be attracted to. It's that kind of energy. If you are on the cusps, your natal suns are in opposition to Neptune, but only the cusps. This will be the people on the Virgo cusp, say the 21st, 22nd, 23rd of September. This means that there is a strong challenge to the way that you see things. And on the 22nd, when the moon conjuncts, when the moon is there conjuncting your natal suns, this could be a pretty confusing day for you, or a day when your frustrations with the way your reality get the best of you and you leap into some kind of escapism. This is an FYI. It might be a catalyst for something that you need, but just be aware of that day. That is, it's going to be a particularly emotional day and dreamy day. A dream that kind of whisks you away and is not going to be like any other day this week. Let's move on to, let's put it this way, a day where you won't behave as you normally would, and definitely not the way you behave any other day this week. It will push you outside of your normal. Let's get to Libra 2s. If your natal suns fall between 10 and 19 degrees Libra, you are Libra 2s. This correlates to anybody whose birthday is between October 1st and the 10th of, the October 1st and the 10th. That's it. Your natal suns are sextile to Mercury. So conversation, communication, and information exchange is going to open up doors for you. Do not be afraid to take action through speaking, because it will definitely lead to opportunities for you. Speaking with confidence is going to sort of emulate or radiate confidence and competence. And so this could open up doors for you this week. Definitely a great time to take an interview, go on an audition, send in an application, write a letter, or take a test. Any of those will work out very well for you. There is a quincunx between your natal suns and Jupiter, which means hyperstimulation. Things can feel like they can never move as fast, like they're not moving fast enough for you. So it's sort of like you're just going to have to sort of try to slow yourself down, because you could get ahead of yourself with this energy. It doesn't mean it will lead to anything bad. It just is agitating, internal agitation. And then there's a direct opposition between your natal suns and Chiron, especially if you're born around, say, the 9th or 10th of October. This causes a lack of self-esteem, a sense of questioning whether or not you're worthy. You've been dealing with this for a while, though, and since this is a very healing week and transformative week, it could be really allowing you to look at those injuries and see how to never do them again. So a real learning period for you. Let's go to Libra 3s. So Libra 3s, if your natal suns are between 20 and 29 degrees Libra, you are Libra 3s. This correlates to October birthdays between October 11th and the 21st. Definitely Scorpio cuspers. So the 20th to 21st, maybe the 22nd, depending on when Libra season ended that year. Your natal suns are conjunct the South Node, especially if you're on that Scorpio cusp. It just entered Libra, so it's going to be extremely potent and powerful. When your natal suns are conjunct the South Node, this is an ownership of what you are good at and how you are self-realized and what you are confident and competent in, where you are coming from. But you're opposite the North Node, which means that's very clear, the distance that you have to go to now find the strength and courage to go somewhere else and being challenged to do more with yourself. Your natal suns are sextile to Venus in retrograde. So there is some good news or opportunities that are going to unfold financially, or in terms of just how people value you or who you value, what you're turned on by and what you desire valuing you and being turned on by you. This is a great time to do anything aesthetic to yourself, because it will actually work out really well and end up being very lovely. This is also very creative energy when Venus is sextile to your natal sun. So trust in your heart, trust in your passions right now. Your natal suns are square because it's conjunct the South Node. It's square to the sun and square to Pluto. So there's a major transformative energy happening here that is challenging you to be a different, better version of who you are, a higher quality, raise your standards. That's what it's saying. And then we have a quincunx to Uranus and a quincunx to Neptune. So what you will be challenged by is those things about yourself that are odd or off the cusp, stuff that isn't easily defined. And so there's a sense of challenge that is trying to make you comfortable with things that are a little bit more amorphous or outside the norm. This could also be challenges that come from different things like social media or escapism mechanisms, especially high tech. You know, taking shortcuts with AI or being on social media too much could really cause a lot of agitation and distraction this week. So please be aware of that. Libra, you let me know in the comments below how all this energy is impacting you. Remember to subscribe to this channel and ring that bell so that you know when I upload your zodiac sign every week. And then come on over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card reading, Libra. I love you. I'll talk to you soon.